The year is 1825, and the air in the Washington, D.C. hotel room smells of turpentine, stale tobacco, and the desperate sweat of a man whose career hangs by a thread. Samuel Morse stands before a canvas that is taller than he is. He is not the gray-bearded patriarch of the telegraph that you see in history books. Not yet. Today, he is 33 years old. His hands are stained with pigments, and he is a painter fighting for his life. The room is silent, except for the wet slap of a brush against linen. Sitting before him is the Marquis de Lafayette, the hero of the American Revolution, the man who fought beside Washington. This commission is everything. It is the $1,000 lifeline that Morse needs to pull his family out of debt. But while his eyes are locked on the folds of Lafayette's velvet coat, his heart is 300 miles away, in New Haven, Connecticut. He pauses, wiping his brow. A dull ache of anxiety has settled in his chest, a constant companion for weeks. His wife, Lucretia, his beloved, beautiful Lucretia, is pregnant with their third child. When he left her, she was weak. The birth had been difficult. The distance between them feels like a physical weight, a vast, silent ocean of land that swallows sound and certainty. In 1825, distance is not just a measurement, it is a wall. There are no phones ringing in the lobby, no telegrams, no vibrations in his pocket. There is only the road, the mud, and the terrifying silence of the void. A knock at the door shatters the quiet. It is a messenger. Morse freezes, his brush hovering inches from the canvas. He takes the envelope, his fingers trembling slightly as he recognizes his father's handwriting. This is it, the news he has been waiting for. He breaks the wax seal, the crack echoing in the still room. He unfolds the paper, bracing himself for the worst. He reads the words, and the air rushes back into his lungs. "My affectionate son," the letter begins. "I have the pleasure to inform you that your dear wife is convalescent." Convalescent? Recovering. She is getting better. The relief is so profound it nearly knocks him over. He laughs, a short, sharp sound of pure joy. He looks back at Lafayette, and the colors on the palette seem brighter, the world sharper. She is safe. The crisis has passed. He returns to his work with a renewed vigor, the phantom weight lifted from his shoulders. He paints the light hitting Lafayette's face, unaware that the light he is capturing is a ghost. He writes a letter back to her, pouring his love onto the page, telling her he will be home soon, telling her how much he misses her. He imagines her reading it in bed, smiling, the color returning to her cheeks. But this scene is a lie. It is a cruel trick of geography and time. As Morse dips his brush into the crimson paint, feeling the warmth of relief wash over him, he is living in a past that no longer exists. The reality of the world has already shifted, but the news has not yet caught up to him. He is a man celebrating safety in a burning house, comforted by the treacherous lag of information. In 1825, truth travels at the speed of a horse, and the horse is too slow. He is happy, he is relieved, and he is completely, devastatingly wrong.
The illusion holds for exactly 24 hours. The next day, the sunlight in the studio feels colder. Another knock at the door. Another letter from his father. Morse smiles as he reaches for it, expecting more good news, perhaps a note from Lucretia herself this time. But the paper feels heavier in his hand. The handwriting looks hurried, jagged. He opens it. The words do not make sense at first. They are a jumble of ink that his brain refuses to process. My heart is in pain and deeply sorrowful, strictly and suddenly. And then the blow that stops his heart. Lucretia is no more. The silence in the room transforms instantly. It is no longer peaceful. It is suffocating. The convalescent letter was a snapshot of a moment that had already died by the time he read it. She was gone. While he was mixing colors yesterday, while he was sighing with relief, she was already cold. Morse drops the palette. The painting of Lafayette, the $1,000, the career, it all dissolves into meaningless noise. There is only one imperative screaming in his blood. Go. He scrambles to pack. He leaves the commission of a lifetime unfinished. The journey from Washington, D.C. to New Haven is 300 miles of hell. He throws himself onto a horse, then a stagecoach. The wheels grind through the frozen ruts of the winter roads. Every mile is a physical battle against the landscape. He stares out the window at the passing trees, the gray sky, urging the driver to go faster, faster. But the horses have limits. The mud has a grip. This is the torture of the 19th century. Grief is a passenger, sitting heavily on his chest, but he cannot move faster than the turning wheels. He has days to think, days to replay that first lying letter, days to do the sickening math in his head. If the letter took 4 days to reach him, and she died shortly after the first was written, the journey takes 6 agonizing days. 6 days of wondering if he will make it in time for the funeral. 6 days of staring at the horizon, wishing he could tear the fabric of space and just be there. He barely eats, he barely sleeps. The rhythm of the carriage wheels becomes a mocking countdown. He arrives in New Haven, a ghost of a man, covered in dust and exhaustion. He runs to his house. It is quiet, too quiet. He runs to the cemetery, and there it is, the fresh earth. He stops, his knees giving way. He is too late. Not just too late to say goodbye, not just too late to hold her hand as she passed. He is too late for the funeral. She is already buried. She has been in the ground for days. He stands there in the biting wind, staring at the dirt. The realization hits him with the force of a physical blow. The information gap didn't just deceive him, it stole his goodbye. It stole the last moments of the person he loved most in the world. While he was reading that she was getting better, she was dead. While he was rushing home, hoping to see her face one last time, they were lowering her into the ground. The delay of communication was not an inconvenience. It was a monster. It was a thief. And in that graveyard, shivering in the cold, something inside Samuel Morse breaks. The painter dies, and in the wreckage of his heart, a cold, hard obsession begins to take root. He looks at the silent horizon, hatred burning in his eyes for the distance that separated them.
Morse returns to his life, but he is a hollow shell. The colors of the canvas no longer sing to him. The face of Lafayette is a reminder of the lie. He tries to paint, but the grief is a static noise in his head that drowns out the muse. He leaves America. He travels to Europe, trying to outrun the memory of that fresh grave, trying to find solace in the great galleries of the Louvre. But the silence follows him. The distance is always there, lurking, waiting to sever another connection. It is 1832. 7 years have passed since Lucretia died, but the wound has not healed. It has calcified into a question. Morse is boarding the packet ship Sully to sail back to New York. He's 41, a painter whose passion has dimmed. One night, in the dining salon of the ship, the conversation turns to the new wonders of electromagnetism. A fellow passenger, Dr. Charles Jackson, is entertaining the table with a description of how electricity passes through a length of wire. It passes instantly, Jackson says. No matter the length of the wire, the presence of the fluid is detectable at the other end instantaneously. Morse freezes. He sets down his fork. The chatter of the dining room fades away. Instantly. The word echoes in his mind, colliding violently with the memory of the 7 days' silence. If electricity can travel instantly, if a spark can jump from one end of a wire to another without a pause, then why did he have to wait days to know his wife was dead? Why did news have to travel at the speed of hooves and wheels? He leans forward, his eyes wide, manic. If the presence of electricity can be made visible in any part of the circuit, Morse whispers, more to himself than the table, I see no reason why intelligence may not be transmitted instantaneously by electricity. The other passengers see a painter making conversation, but Morse is seeing a ghost. He is seeing the grave in New Haven. He is seeing the miles vanishing. He stands up and paces the deck, the cold sea spray hitting his face. He pulls out a notebook. He begins to sketch. Not a portrait, not a landscape, but a diagram, dots, dashes, a code. He abandons his art, he alienates his friends, he spends years in poverty, tangled in wires, mocked by scientists who say a painter has no business in physics. But he doesn't care. He isn't building a machine for money. He is building a weapon against the delay that destroyed his life. He is building a time machine that kills the waiting. Years later, when the first message, "What hath God wrought?" flashes across the wire from Washington to Baltimore, the crowd cheers for the technological marvel. But for Morse, it is a eulogy. He has finally killed the distance. Look at the device in your hand right now. Look at the notification on your screen. That instant connection, that ability to say, "I love you," or "I'm here," and have it be received 1,000 miles away in a heartbeat, that is not just technology. That is the scar tissue of Samuel Morse's grief. We live in a world woven together by his heartbreak, a world where no one ever has to miss the funeral because the letter arrived too late. The speed of light that governs our lives today was born from the darkest moment of his.